3, 2, 1.
Hello, you're tuned into WBPULP St. Petersburg 96.3 on your FM dial. Welcome to the Simone Durant Show, where we cover all things hair, health, beauty, and community.
Wow!
Yep, you heard it. This isn't just a show, it's a movement. So turn up the volume and join the conversation. It's time to educate, enlighten, and empower together. Let's dive in. Good morning, St. Pete, and to all of our listeners. Welcome back to another episode of the Simone Durant Show, where we talk all things hair, health, beauty, and community. I'm your host, certified hair loss specialist, restoration expert, and community advocate, Simone Durant, and I am so excited to be with you guys for another week. Hi, those on Facebook, YouTube. Thank you to my wonderful fiance, Vaughn, who is my rock. Thank you to my children, my parents, my educators and mentors, my industry mentor, Tony Love. Thank you to Allen Jr., Boston Jr., Be the Beast 1K on all social media platforms. He is our video producer. And thank you to the Simone Durant Show family for always showing up for me, always supporting, always tuning in and listening, and giving me extremely positive feedback. Remember that you can go to www.thesimonedurantshow.com and let me know what you want to hear. And also remember that this is our July fund drive, so we are in the process of collecting funds. It's so important that you support us. We are a not-for-profit radio, but we are also the heart and soul of St. Petersburg. We are promoting independent radio, unique voices, personal stories, and we need your support. So $1, $2, $10, $1 million. I mean, I know somebody out there got it, so I'm not gonna hold you, you know. And just support any way that you can. You can go to www.blackpower96.org/Simone or /donate. You can also donate by doing Cash App $Black Power 96, and you can just put the Simone Durant Show. And you can also send by cash or check. You can drop off cash to 1245 18th Avenue South. Or you can mail a check to Black Power 96, put Simone Durant Show in the memo box. And
great till they gotta be great. Don't text me, tell it straight to
Miss Bernica Hyman-Muhammad. Bernica is what we call a mompreneur, a mother, an entrepreneur, all wrapped up in one. She is the founder of Mommy and Me Creations Legacy and the visionary of the Mom Village, and the author of the upcoming book, More Than My Titles, Rediscovering the Woman Behind the Rose. She is an advocate for women, more specifically Black mothers, who find themselves searching for identity outside of their titles and creation roles. Through the Mom Village, she spends her time cultivating a sisterhood and a safe space for self-exploration and reflection, encouraging women to love themselves as much as they love everyone else. Today, she's going to talk candidly and have conversation with us about her journey through marriage, motherhood, divorce, self-realization, and self-love that she developed along the way. We're going to get into her story and see what it looks like to rebuild after life changes on you, and how she turned all of what she has lived into inspiration for other women. So welcome, Ms. Bernica.
Thank you for having me, Simone.
Absolutely. And let me tell you guys, I am so inspired by everything that she has done. I have been seeing her for years. When I say years, 5, 10 years at least, just being extremely consistent in her initiatives and in her passion for what she does. I have seen her empower women to be the best version of themselves via health, mind, body, soul, spirituality. I've seen her partner with initiatives, Black Excellent, community advocacy. I've seen her start the Mom Village and other things of the sort, to just constantly be pushing the same narrative. So in that way, you have been extremely consistent throughout the years. It has turned into something more refined and beautiful, but that has kind of been your story since the beginning, right?
Right.
So, like I always do, I want people to get to know you. Born and raised here?
Yes, St. Petersburg, born and raised.
And what was St. Petersburg like for you? Because everyone's story is different. Where'd you go to school? Where'd you go to high school?
Okay, so I love St. Petersburg. I love where I'm from. This is the sunshine state and city. You know, the water. I love water. I went to Gibbs High School, alumni. Whoop, whoop.
Okay.
I graduated from the Beta program, Business Economic Technology Academy. So I loved it here. I grew up in an intentional household. I raised by a mother. I'm in the Nation of Islam. I'm the eldest of 9. I've always had responsibilities, always been pushed in leadership roles and positions, just a part of a lot of community activities in my upbringing. So service is really all of what I know, a part of just everything that I do. My mom is a very big advocate that idle mind is the devil's workshop. Mm-hmm. So I was not allowed to like hang out and, you know, just go different places and things. So I was a part of a lot of my siblings and I. My mom kept us involved in a lot of positive activities, a lot of community activities and programs, just because she understood that environment is so important. Our teacher and leader, Honorable Minister Farrakhan, he also teaches environment is stronger than heredity. So in that, you know, we had to be mindful. My mom was very mindful of like our environment because she understands that mindset is important. You know, the things that you see, visualization. So I was very much so cultivated. So I experienced St. Pete in the way that I was allowed, but not just like hanging out.
Right. And did you do any athletics or anything like that? Were you a cheerleader?
Okay, so I did cheer in my younger years. I did cheer growing up. And then I did a couple sports just trying to build my resume for college. So I did volleyball, I did softball, and that was pretty much it. Oh, and I did track in middle school. So, yeah.
Okay.
I tried it.
I tried it.
Yeah.
And so, during that time, was there anything that really was significant to you that you could look back and say was the driving force for who you are today?
Again, just the different programs that my mom exposed me to at a very young age, just being a part of positivity. I was always around older people, you know, and hearing their mindset. I love to soak up wisdom. I have a thirst, like, you know, for knowledge. So that has a big part. I've always been a part of everything leadership. So my mom had been grooming me from a young girl, you know, to literally be who I am today.
Right. And speaking of who you are today, outside of your titles, a wife, mother, well, former wife, mother, entrepreneur, who is Brenika, right? Most people want to identify themselves and they have a really hard time stepping away from who they are in their roles.
Yes.
So give us an example, because I'm all about solutions, on how you would describe yourself outside of your roles.
Well, I am a woman of God in the Nation of Islam. I am a Proverbs 31 woman. My mom groomed me. Again, everything was intentional. I used to have to read a book of Proverbs every day. So I was groomed with just knowing who I am and whose I am, having knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of myself. And then, of course, being in the nation that's full of knowledge and information, I've always been taught my worth and my value. So I know that's who I am. I am a beacon of light. I am the voice of women. I'm a leader. I love experiences and building community. I am the woman who took the room. I always say that because I know I add value everywhere I go. I know when I talk, people listen, and I transform people into action. You know, so that's who I am. I am a person who leads with love, and yeah, I just enjoy life.
2 snaps in a circle, baby. Amen. 2 snaps in a circle.
Yes.
And so, like I said, you wear many hats, and like I mentioned earlier. So let's start with one of the main driving forces behind many of your initiatives. Walk us through being a mother and a wife, which really has kind of helped you to form things like the Mom Village. We talked a little bit about the importance of courtship and getting to know your mate. So what was that like? You said you did have an experience that most people don't have, a really intentional experience getting to know your ex-husband and things like that.
Yes. So courtship, that was a beautiful process. we don't just casually date in the nation. You know, we court, and when you're courting with the intent to marry. But just because you court somebody doesn't mean marriage. You just know that you are in the intentions of that. So in that, I got to experience premarital counseling. We had chaperone dates, but with people who was already married at least 3 years. So you had to be around happy married people. We was able to ask questions. We were able to learn and to grow, and through others' experiences, and really to like define what we wanted, and what that actually looked like. When you think about court, you're in a whole trial period where you're literally just thoroughly asking and investigating, getting to know your person, getting to know yourself in the process, because there's going to be some things that's going to like come up when you're talking about your background, your upbringing, and different things. So you get to take that time out to learn yourself in that person. And I feel like courtship is so important. And of course, and if it works out, when it works out, it's the ship. It takes you to the next level, which is marriage. But I think it's so important because oftentimes people just jump into relationships, most times with your lower desires and just the physical eye attraction, and not really taking the time to get to know that person. So then when you're with the person, it's like, I don't even know you, or this is not the person that I met, and we ignore all the red flags and the things that's presented that's there. So I think that that's important too, to just thoroughly get to know your person. And then outside of that, when you're thinking about marriage, you're thinking it's family, you're growing, you're being fruitful, and you're multiplying. So we ask real life questions. We have a courtship manual with questions in the different phases of marriage and what that would look like. So a part of that, I would need to know, do you have a sickle cell trait? Because I could potentially have one. And if we both have one, then that means we're going to have a sickly child. So what does that look like? Do we want to carry forward with this? Will we be able to afford, you know, a sickly child? Not necessarily saying that it has to be that, but these are why we ask those type of questions. Do we want our children to eat meat? Do we want our children to eat pork? Like those different things, you need to know that. How do you want, would you like for me to stay home? Would you care if I work as a woman? For men, are you willing to provide? Are we going 50-50? You have to ask these questions up front versus just moving somebody in your house and then it just expecting that everything is going to go okay. So I think that that's a beautiful process to really take that time to get to know one another, and then just becoming a mother. My life changed significantly when I became a mother. You know, I grew up, nobody couldn't tell me nothing different. I was going to be the baddest corporate attorney in America. But 6 months into me getting pregnant, it's 6 months into me getting married, I got pregnant. And my whole life changed. Minister Farrakhan, he had a series, How to Give Birth to a God. And I was so engulfed in that. And there was no way that I seen myself like going to work and leaving my baby. I didn't want nobody to tell me my baby's first step, what they learned for today. Like I just became all about my child. And then it went from 1 to 3. And I got to learn myself more when I had each of, you know, my baby. So
right. And was it everything that you expected, or did you learn like a lot of things along the way?
Being a mother or a wife?
Both. Just like having a family dynamic.
Okay.
We have dreams of what a family will look like. We have aspirations of what motherhood will look like. And I think that one of the biggest things is that when you birth a child, you birth what's in you. And sometimes we don't handle some of those things that are inside of us because we have suppressed them so much. And then they come out in this child that says, oh yeah, you forgot this.
Yes. What I will say is, back to being that corporate attorney, that nobody can tell me anything different. I honestly, to be truthful, because like hearing at such a young age, being groomed in my mom's household, and to just hear about marriage, and I'm 16, I'm like, that's not a reality. Like, that's the only way that I could date. Like, forget it. I'm gonna focus on my career. I'm not getting married till I'm 40. You know, like after we reach auntie and I have my babies, then that's how I thought my life was gonna go. I eventually got married at 19. You just never know who's gonna come into your life. And I got married at 19. So to get from that mindset of career and family last, I was ready to be a part of family and partnership. Everything that I thought that marriage, you know, was supposed to be, doing everything together. And I thought marriage, love was enough.
Yeah.
But getting married and being in a marriage, and with us being married so young, to be fair, you know, this person, they went to school, they literally did everything to provide, to make sure that I didn't have to work, where I'm able to stay home, you know, taking on all those different responsibilities. But our realities was different. I had the reality of house, being a mother, and all those different things, and feeling like I'm doing the same thing repetitively. I needed an adult to talk to, and he was focused on providing a way for us, and, you know, the things that I thought that we were supposed to do together, it wasn't necessarily that. So a lot of my marriage, I was alone. I was doing pretty much everything by myself. I was groomed already like that, so like being a leader and, you know, making sure everything happened, being the eldest of 9, always having to have everything figured out. I was prepared for it, but that's not what I thought marriage was. You know, that's not everybody's story, but I do know a lot of the time, like, he was away. I had to be the person who went to family functions by myself on both sides of the family, you know, so I did a lot of things alone, experiencing, you know, just with my children alone, because he was like paving the way, and it probably didn't have that balance for himself, like the family and work life and manhood and all of those different things. So yeah, it was definitely different for me. It wasn't exactly what I thought that it would be, and I think that outside of just love, communication is important, healing is important, and just still continuing to choose your person over and over in every season of life. So yeah.
Right, absolutely. And that was so well explained. I think that you spoke on that with such grace and poise, and it just shows that even when things don't work out, there is a silver lining, and there is a point of self-accountability and reflection, right?
Yes.
And not always playing the blame game, but just understanding, okay, in this phase, what I thought would be versus what I was prepared for versus, you know, everything, you know, we made the best decision,
right.
And then when that decision needed to change, we made that decision together, and, you know, you guys are still on good terms. You said that you're very happy for all the things that he's accomplished, and I think that that really takes some maturity,
yes.
and being the true essence of a woman and of an incubator is to want to see them thrive regardless, right?
Absolutely.
And understanding that doesn't always look like us together,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
You also mentioned that you learned a lot from your previous marriage, and how did that transition look like, and what steps did you take to assist reshaping like your new reality with you and your kids, you know, because again, we're going to get a little bit more into the mom village, but I'm pretty sure after that it took even more of a village, you know. You were able to see how important a village actually was.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. I think a lot of it did happen still in the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
We had separated at one point, like for almost 2 years. Like, we still, of course, was involved with one another because of our children, and we were still able to see one another, but we went through a portion where we decided to separate, and I got to experience life without him, and in that moment I was able to find myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to learn more about myself, and that's when I joined a company, and that's when I got into the whole health and wellness. I started traveling, I started believing in myself. I became a part of a women's community, and that's where I pulled a lot of my strength from, in that. I think, but then we eventually got back together. We tried to work it out, and we just seemed like it was not going to work out. And I feel like for a lot of women, we leave mentally before we leave physically.
Mm-hmm.
So a part of the transition was a lot of grieving, and I went through that. It's different stages of grief,
right?
Mm-hmm. But I started the initial grieving in my marriage, where, you know, like where you cry in the shower when you don't want the person to see you crying anymore, because now I don't even want you to help me, you know. So it started with that, to like finally getting the strength to leave outside of like, you provide everything, you know, for us, and how would I do it on my own? So I was already going through like a mental transition. I think everything started mentally, because I did have the tools from the women's community, meditating, sitting with myself, affirming. Those was the things that helped guide me through, alongside with just like my upbringing and just knowing who God is and knowing that He will cover me. I had time to sit by myself and go through the shoulda, coulda, wouldas when we were separated, and, you know, play it out on all different sides. So when it actually happened, it was just like, this is just a part of the process. But yeah, it was a lot, because me and my children, we transitioned from different homes, you know, going from, you know, being in our own space to one room, you know, 4 people, 1 bed under other people's roofs. So it was a lot during that time, and then just even rebuilding just as a single mom now, with me being the head of household and everything, it was a lot of healing. It was a lot of self-discovery, rediscovering. That's why I'm on this journey right now so strong, because I know what it feels like, what it looks like, and actually what it takes to get you to the next level, you know, and not just staying in it. Because if you don't do it for yourself, nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's coming to save you. God will send you people, places, and things, but sometimes you may not even be mentally well enough to even receive that, or because it don't look like what we think it's supposed to look like, we will reject it at the end of the day. So that's why my passion is so strong for everything that I do now. But I will say my strength came in that transition, because I was able to learn myself, and literally I had to figure it out. You know, it went from me having a partner to consult things with, to me having to make decisions solely and fully on my own.
Girl, I understand. I understand. And I'm so, we talked a little bit about, you know, the importance of speaking to both women who have to transition, women who are in situations. And, you know, I have to give a shout out to the love of my life for being oh so supportive and allowing me to have a voice. But you spoke very candidly on the importance of having a voice. If you're in a relationship and you know that it's going to work and you're trying to make it work, being honest and being open about your feelings and acknowledgement of the things that you need in the relationship, so that someone can have an opportunity, right, to give you that grace.
Yes. I think it's important, like you said, having a voice is so important, because if you don't speak up for yourself, who else will? And then also I think it's very important because women, and there are men too, but women, we naturally study our partner, you know, and we just, you know, try to fix it. Not all the time you're being the person that's being studied when you're the helper to that person. So we just expect for men to read our mind, and they can't. So if you don't speak up, you're not giving them the opportunity to be able to help you or to give you that grace. And I say it for any woman who's transitioning or in it, like, be okay to choose you. And in choosing yourself, it does not mean that you're going to neglect the person that you're with. It doesn't mean that you love that person less, but it is you saying, like, I need time to figure some things out for me. In order for me to be healthy in this relationship, in order for me to be a healthy mom, I need just a moment. That may look like, hey, I'm going to need you to cover home for a week. All right. You know, when you come home from work, I'm going to need to step out. Whatever that may look like, you just have to communicate your needs. And I think sometimes we be afraid of the response. And sometimes it may be better than what you think. If you have somebody who's genuinely here in your corner, or maybe even notice that you have been off, but you have to be able to realize that in yourself and ask for that. And I always tell women, schedule yourself. Put yourself on a calendar like you do everything else. Like you schedule yourself a hair appointment, put yourself on that calendar to say, hey, I'm going out, I'm going to, you know, ground, I'm going to read, I'm going to watch a movie on myself. Whatever that may be to self-care and pour back into yourself, put it out there. You know, ask and you shall receive. So if you have a person who truly loves you and want the best for you, hopefully they will be understanding. And maybe they may not even get it immediately, but hopefully in the results of like the space that you're asking for, they'll be able to get that, you know, understand that and appreciate you there for communicating versus just leaving.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. And this is, this is not just in your personal life. It transitions right into your professional life. And Mommy and Me Creations is a legacy, right? It's so appropriately named, but it is a legacy. And I think that was the first time that I ever saw you and took notice was Mommy and Me Creations. Mm-hmm. And so tell us a little bit about that journey, because it's been ongoing for a while.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that journey and how it came to be.
Okay, so Mommy and Me, my life became a brand. Okay, so I did a lot of things backwards. I didn't know much about business, but people seen like how open and transparent I was with my life.
Men great till they gotta be great. Don't text me, tell it straight to
being a stay-at-home mom, people followed the journey, and they would see different things that I post that my children were learning, or different activities that I was doing, or, you know, maybe the way that I talked about my then husband and things. So people would ask me questions, and it just became that. So in that separation time period, and learning how to pour back into myself, and, you know, taking that time again with my children and different things of that nature, And then I got back with my person. I was like, you know what? I am ready to like show people what that looked like. Like people was already asking me for advice on Mommy. It was then just Mommy and Me Creations. It wasn't Legacy then. So I started with like selling like matching T-shirts with mom and child, just shirts for moms, bonnets, matching bonnets, just a lot of Mommy and Me different things. I was doing a lot of pop-up shops, Mommy and Me Creation pop-up shops. Everything that I experienced, I thought it was very necessary to build it. So because I wasn't making my own money, you know, my then husband, he was a sole provider, I didn't have a job, all of those different things, I felt that like when we separated, I understood the importance of having my own money. So with me doing the pop-up shops, I wanted women to display their gifts, skills, and talents, but also make money from that. You know, so everything that I needed, I just created it. And so that's how Mommy and Me came about, just showing my life and my creativity, and the things that I do and with my children, because I feel like it's so important to include your children in your vision, in your goal. You know, we leave our children aside, and it's like, no, make them be a part. My children was my biggest advocates. They promoted, you know, my products. My son was my biggest accountability partner, and they love to be a part. They want to be a part of what you do. So you make them feel important versus always being away, and then they grow up was like, you was never here. And it's like, didn't you see me working countless hours for you? But they wasn't a part of the vision. They didn't understand the importance of why Mommy is working so hard, why Mommy is doing those things. So including my children in the process, I felt like that was so important. So that's how it became about. And then after ending my marriage, I was able to officially register my business and became Mommy and Me Creation Legacy. So, and I love that. That's more fitting anyway, because legacy is not about when you leave. It's about the things that you do on a daily basis to build for when you're not here and to live longer than you.
And I still have my green Mom of Messes and Dresses.
Yes.
Yes, I oh my gosh.
Messes and Dresses,
yes,
Mama both.
Mama both, yep. I still have that, and I'm like, let me see, I try and stay small enough to fit it, because back then I was tiny.
Ooh, that was like over 5 years.
It was, that's what I was saying, like she's been rocking it out for a minute. And so what was the moment that you realized, like, you know, you kind of explained it, but your personal story could be something bigger than your own. Was there like a particular moment that you felt like, okay, I have to make this bigger than me? Like this is a purpose. This is a life initiative.
Yes. So Mommy and Me, it started, of course, like just me with my children, me with my family, but mainly my children. But when I would hear women come to me about different things, and it's like, Renika, God is giving you authority, and walk in that authority. So that's how Mom Coach came about. Like it was birthed from Mommy and Me Creations, other women coming to me, and so that's how Mom Coaching came into fruition. But when I knew that what I'm doing became bigger than myself and it had more purpose, again, people followed me. I was very open in my marriage, in my life. But when I went through the divorce, that was my hardest part. I felt like I was living like shamed in public. I felt like I was a failure. I felt like I was letting people down because I wanted to show that God's way worked. Like, you know, just all the different things. So when I went to Sarah Jake's, she have a women's conference every year. I can't even think of it right now. But when I went to her Women Evolve conference, and I came back and I did a transformation post, and I was able to be very transparent about my divorce and how that made me feel, and about like peace being still and God setting me down. I was able to see like my story was not unique. Everybody, you know, they was able to relate to my story in some form or fashion, whether they were single, whether they was mothers, whether they was married. And I was like, okay, so what I'm going through, I'm not going through that alone. When you're going through things, you think you're the only person who's going through it. Life revolves around you and your mess, and it wasn't. So when I seen how many people reached out to me when I was open about that, and they started telling me their stories, I'm like, okay, it's something here. So the thing that I was trying to hide from and that I didn't want to be exposed was the very thing that was needed. And I was like, okay, I need to do something with this to meet the needs of the women.
So where did the Mom Village come from? The name, the Mom Village, the idea of the Mom Village.
Well, annually I do baskets and blankets, and it's something that I do in the community for moms and children, and where we come with our baskets empty and you leave with them full spiritually and physical, tangible things. So I felt like that was nice. We do healthy bonding activities, teaching children how to pour into themselves, all that. I am very big on it takes a village to raise a child. But I also understood that moms need villages too. The more I would hear the needs, the cries, the pains, me knowing what I needed at that time and what actually helped me, I said I need to bring, again, I create everything that I needed or, may need. So I know what it did for me. And the name Mom Village is like, I help all women, but I specialize with mothers. So I'm like, okay, mom and village. So that's how the mom, it was just literally that simple. It wasn't too much into it. It was just the mom village. But my mom village is not just for mothers. It's for all women. Because I feel like all women, we need support. We need community. We need sisterhood. And in the village, you don't have to do it alone. In the village, you will be seen, heard, supported, and celebrated. And I feel like most women, we all need that. So.
Thank you. And before we get into some of the things that you guys have done within the Mom Village, I want to remind you guys that it is the July Fund Drive, and we at Black Power Radio need your help. So please donate as much as you can, as long as you can. You can become a sustaining member. It goes to the daily ins and outs of water, lights, cable, internet, all that kind of things. And we're actually have a sister radio station that we are building in Missouri to do the same thing up there. So we ask for all of the support to keep us on the air, giving you the stories and the conversations that you want to have, giving you all the information. Remember that last time it was a hurricane, Uncle DJ Eddie was here all night long giving y'all what you needed to hear. So we have to keep the satellite radio has been withstood the test of time. Before there was internet, before there were podcasts, before there were anything, it was radio, and that has been consistent. So help us to continue to help you by donating to $Black Power 96 on Cash App. You can put the Simone Durant Show in the comments. You can also go to www.blackpower96.org/Simone or /donate, and then you can mail in a check or drop off some cash. Address it to 1245 18th Avenue South, and put Simone Durant Show in the comments. And then the Black Power 96 in the subject line. We appreciate everything that you guys do, from a penny to just listening and supporting and keeping those numbers rolling, showing that, hey, someone's listening, and we got to stay on the air. So again, back to the Mom Village. What are some of the things that you guys have already done? What does the Mom Village look like? I know that you do have an intake form that asks very, very thorough questions. Like, I went through the intake form and I filled out, and I found, like, oh my gosh, like, when I'm looking for, what am I looking for? I found out that I was, looking for support. I was looking for business motivation. I was looking for a sounding board. I was looking for just to kind of like know that I wasn't alone, And so there's a lot. It's a very thorough intake form that allows you to assess yourself, and it also allows you, as someone who has a lot on their plate, to set a goal. Right? We both talked about things that we got an opportunity to get in front of, or to have an opportunity to join, and then saying, hey, like, let me make a plan for that. And I think with every single busy mom, every single mom who are juggling multiple responsibilities, that in itself helped me to realize, like, okay, just the intake helped me to realize what I need to prepare for, what I need to start like reorganizing, because I do want to join the Mom Village, right? I do want to be a part of a group of women that incubate each other and help to mature the world. You said the quote that stuck with me so well: when you teach a man, you teach an individual, but when you teach a woman, you teach a nation, right? And so tell us a little bit about the Mom Village and some of the things that you guys have done, what that intake process was like creating, and the purpose of it all.
Okay, this is so exciting to talk about, because God gave me visions of many different things.
But you have to talk up, because we gotta hit you.
Okay. Again, God gave me visions about everything, and I create what I need. And I remember there was times I used to be in my car when I was going through the lows of, you know, the marriage and even in the separation. And I would cry and I'd be like, Lord, please, like, help me to, you know, get myself together, because I will be the light. I want to let women know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like, she won't have to do this alone. Like, even in my lowest point, I was thinking about women. I was like, we should not have to feel this way, or, you know, I can't stop the pain, but I wanted to make sure that she does not have to feel alone or by herself or have to carry the weight. So that's what gave birth to that. I am very big on, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go with a team. So I knew that I couldn't do it by myself. So in starting the process, I vetted out women who I'm good at what I'm strong with, but to create a community that's global. This is a global hybrid, so you don't have to be here in person. You can, you know, be a part of this group online and still feel like you're near, like you're right here, to be a part of it. So I knew that I needed other people that was stronger in areas that I wasn't necessarily stronger in. I wanted people that was not me. I don't need a lot of me's, you know. I needed people who was good in where they are. So I have an automated specialist that helps women create systems. I wanted strong, powerful women to be a part of this, who have been through some things, and how they overcame, and me just seeing their transition. And these women, they were my village, you know, going through the things that I went through. A financial strategist. I have a baker who teach children the importance about learning their gifts, skills, and talents. I have a holistic doctor. So I sat with those women first, and I told them my vision, my goals, my mindset, and they were on board. And then we all came together, we collaborated, and we literally planned this whole thing out and what that was going to look like. I told them the vision, and they was able to share their vision with that. A part of like my gift to them, I told them that they were able to invite, I wanted founding members, a part of the Mom Village. So we have founding moms, and I had them to invite maybe 5 of their friends that could experience the Mom Village for free for the first month. And we had a founders brunch with them, and so we was able to share and hear what women would want from them. And the intake form was created with my committee, and we put it together, and we was just thinking, ask women what do they need. Like, we know what we want to give. I know the vision that I had, but let's ask them. And I'm very, again, intentional about everything I do. Everybody can't just be a part because they want to be. I want women that want community and not feeling forced, you know. So in that process, I'm like, okay, what do they need spiritually, faith-wise? What do they need for themselves? What do they want, you know, for their career? What does that look like, being a part of a community for them? What are their needs in being a mother? Just as a woman, what's your goals? What's your dreams? Your aspiration? Because I feel like it's very important to get to know a person. When I joined the business that I was a part of, the first thing that my coach asked me, she didn't say, "What do you feel like you can do for this?" She asked me, "What was my why?" When you go to job interviews, they want to know what you can do for them. They don't really care about you. Right. So that was the first time somebody took time and wanted to know about me. So I felt like that was very important to put in my community. Let me know about you versus what I can offer you. I want to know about you personally, and that's why the intake form was created. In the Mom Village, you do not have to perform. We have our own community, like how you have Facebook and Instagram. You have your own apps. I wanted to take us off of those platforms, so we have an app called School, SKOOL, and we're on there. And we have daily, it's kind of like Facebook. You get to write every single day. So we have different categories. So we have Motivational Monday, Treat Yourself Tuesday, Worthy Wednesday, Wind Down Thursdays, and I forgot what Friday is. But however, we have something that we can share every day. We have a post there, and you get to share. We have motivation, prayer requests. We have our courses and classrooms. So it's just community. That's what we do in our daily communication. We have our Telegram group where we speak every day, but we make sure, and we also have a calendar, and we do quarterly calendars where things are planned out 3 months in advance. Me and my committee, we sit down, we work together, we put things on a calendar that we feel is beneficial for the women in the community. And now that we're actually established and they love it, we hear like what do they want to do throughout the months, and we make sure that we have that. So we have a mom's wind down once a month, and then bi-weekly we do the Mommy and Me activities. So we have done like doormat paintings, things. So what we try to do is like a 2-for-1. We try to support a black business and support a woman. So we have done candle making, like I said, the rug making. We have done kickball games with our children, like moms versus the children, the boys beat our behinds in that. But we always try to stay involved. We do painting activities. We did painting activities with the children. We're finding different things to do, and now we're going to be leading more into community service things with ourselves and with the children. But I feel like it's very important for women to know how to carve out that time for themselves. We do so much for everybody else. We carry so much. We don't know how to make time for ourselves. So I make sure that's something that's intentional. We take that time out and we have our mom wind down. Our conversations is good, and everybody genuinely loves to be in the space with one another. Thank you.
Yo, that's every, I think every woman, every mother's dreams. Like, you know, you're taking the essence of what used to be, you know, the essence of village, the essence of, you know, walking past a community and seeing the mothers and the women and the wise women just amongst each other, right, cultivating and nourishing and giving back and pouring into each other. And it, you know, we don't see that on a wide scale. You know, it's happening, right, and everybody has their little hubs and little things, and we try and do it. But I think the initiative that you're taking to take it global and hybrid and, you know, really connect people across areas is almost like 6 degrees of separation, right? Mm-hmm. You never know, like, where you're going in the world, and you never know who you're going to meet and who's going to be there. My mom went to Portland one year, and she saw my brother's old football coach, right, working at one of the hotels. And it was just like, you know, we're from Gulfport, St. Pete, Florida, you know, and she went all the way to Portland, and there he was. Yeah. I remember hearing about someone traveling all the way to Texas and seeing somebody, like, in the nightlife and just, like, you know, just everywhere. You just never know where people end up. So I think that a hybrid community just makes sense, because the world is your infinite, your oyster, you know, like, it's infinite. And then now let's get into this book, right? Because you have already displayed that you are a wealth of knowledge, right, and encouragement. And so you do have this upcoming book, More Than My Titles, Rediscovering the Woman Behind the Rose. What are you expecting people to gain from this book, and what was your inspiration behind it?
I want women to gain themselves again. I want you to know that you're more than what you carry, more than what you face on a daily basis, more than what this world put on you, more than what you put on yourself. And you are more than that. Like, who were you before you became all those things? God said, I knew you before I placed you in your mother's womb. You know, he set us apart. So it's like, I want women to know who and whose you are. So I'm taking women through the journey of my life, but where they'll be able to see themselves. And I feel like understanding who you are and taking that time to sit with yourself. Because a lot of women, I hear them, I've lost myself. Okay, you lost yourself. What's the next step? What's happening? People don't know the next step to find themselves, to get back to that moment, or just even creating, you know, what's the next step for themselves. So it's like, in this book, you get what it looks like. Me being so strong, nobody couldn't tell me anything. You know, I was going to be this person, and then life changes. But how do you pivot from the pain? And, you know, what's the next step? And then how it gets into purpose, and that leads into my passion and everything that I do. So I want the next woman to find that for herself. It's so much joy and happiness when you really get to know yourself, and to be healthy, a woman of wholeness all the way around, and be able to manage everything, because life is going to always life. But God built us for this, you know, and it's all about your heart posture and the way that you carry the things. It's not what happens to you, it's how you respond. And I was groomed to know that I am the prize since a little girl. So my universal message, even though anybody who follows me, in my messages, I always end with, you are the prize, and you never forget it. I was taught from a little girl, I am the prize. So when you're taught and you're groomed that, you're going to know that regardless of whatever you face. So I want every woman to know that she's the prize and she's valuable, and you're worthy to be rediscovered and to be happy.
Absolutely. So do you have a little, I know that you have a little excerpt, a little teaser that you want to give.
Yes.
And while she's getting that together, donate so that we can keep having conversations like this. We at Black Power need your support, and We're grateful for our sustaining members. We're grateful for our past donors, and we're thankful for the ones who will donate today. Our goal for this show is $100. So if you can give $5, $10, $1, $20, if 5 people give $20, 10 people give $10, 20 people give $5, 100 people give $1, we will have met our goal. Remember the easiest way, Cash App, $Black Power 96. Put the Simone Durant Show in the comments, and then you can go to www.blackpower96.org/Simone or /donate. But if you go to /donate, just make sure you put the Simone Durant Show. You can also pay tribute to someone, a loved one, by donating. Just understanding that we are a community, and I think this conversation reflects it so well. So we're gonna have her share just a little teaser. But she's not going to share too much because y'all need to get ready for the book.
Yes. So it is, I wanted to share this point because that's what I want women to really pull out. So it is the moment I chose myself. The moment I chose myself was when I became sure of who I was and what my existence even meant. I didn't know what I wanted anymore. I didn't know how to ask for help or even or even how to identify what help looked like. I just knew that I wasn't happy. I felt fulfilled being a mother and a wife. I felt fulfilled being a mother and a wife, but I wasn't happy. There's a difference. I felt alone. My needs were not being met, and I was drained. I was pouring into everything else while quietly emptying myself. I communicated how I felt to the best of my ability, but I wasn't heard. I didn't feel seen, I didn't feel considered, and I didn't feel cared for. In both roles, I was expected to pour, to show up, and to perform. I carried the responsibility of holding everything together, but no one ever stopped and asked me if I was okay. When people saw me, the question were, how is your family? How's your husband? You all are such a beautiful family. But no one asked me, how are you? Do you need anything? Over time, I realized that I wasn't asking myself those questions either. On the outside, it may look like I was doing all the things that should have been done to make me happy. I got my hair and my nails done. I went to the movies. I took small breaks when I could. But there was still something missing. I couldn't name it, but I felt it. I didn't know what made me happy anymore. For so long, I had been waiting to be chosen to be seen, chosen to be heard, chosen to be loved in ways that I needed. I finally realized something life-changing. I hadn't chosen myself. And that's when in that moment, everything shifted. So that is the part that I wanted everybody to hear, because we don't choose ourselves, and we don't know the moment sometimes when to choose ourselves. So I feel like if that part resonated, it will go further into what was the next step and what did that look like after choosing myself. So,
Ooh, child. Y'all, we gotta bring her back. We're definitely gonna bring her back. We're gonna have more conversation. Maybe even after the book launches, we'll definitely do some deep diving. But I just want to thank you for being on the show and sharing your life and your story and your mission, your passions, and being so sincere and authentic, because that's what it is all about. My slogan for the Simone Durant Show is to remember that your journey is yours uniquely, and beauty starts from within. And I feel like this conversation has perfectly aligned with that initiative. And if you guys are looking for more information or want to connect with Bernica, how can they get in contact with you?
They can follow me on Facebook, Bernica Hyman-Muhammad, BRA''NICA, Hyman, HYMAN, Muhammad, MUHAMMAD. And on Instagram is Bernica_M. And on there, make sure y'all stay tuned, because my book will be launching this Friday. Pre-sales will be coming out this Friday. So make sure you stay connected on my pages and be able to grab your copy of my book.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. And if you guys didn't catch any of that, just go to www.thesimonedurantshow.com, go to the contact page and say, hey, I want to connect with the last lady that was on your show. I want to connect with Bernica. I love the Mom Village, or anything of the sort, and I can make that connection for you. But thank you again for having me. And remember that your journey is yours uniquely, and beauty starts from within. I will see you guys next week. St. Pete.
Why men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me, tell it straight